All right, welcome back to Triangle Talk on Nelson Sports Network, your home for the best sports coverage on YouTube. Tonight we got a good one. Round 2 of the NBA playoffs is officially over, and the conference finals are here. We got some really good matchups. Round 2 was pretty exciting. We had some pretty crazy matchups. We had a sweep. We had a game 7, and a couple in between there. Just really good matchups. I was really impressed with some of these teams. We'll get into all the matchups here pretty soon, but Trenton, real quick, just give me your thoughts on this second round here. Just a real quick thought that you had about what you watched on TV.
Watching it on TV, getting into it, we're going to get into some of these series. There was one in particular I really want to get into where it feels like one of the teams just lost all their fight. There was another series where it just felt like they were way too overpowered and over their skis, and the other one was the King just couldn't will his team to victory.
Yeah, well, I was actually wrong. We actually had 2 sweeps in this round. I said 1, but 2 of them I forgot about the Lakers as well.
The Knicks and the Lakers both good.
Just really good matchups. I feel like some teams that didn't necessarily belong here, maybe a year early in one case, maybe missing a couple guys in the other instance, but just when you get to this point in the playoffs, the matchups get weird because a team knocks off someone in the first round, everyone kind of feels like, well, they didn't belong there, like the 76ers, for example, which is the first one we're going to jump into. But you get these matchups where people kind of felt like maybe the 76ers didn't belong there quite yet. They're a year or two early, but it's good experience for them to get in there, even though they got swept. I mean, that was good for some of those young guys like Maxey and Edgecombe to kind of get that experience in the playoffs, playing against some teams that, in a 7-game series, you've got your hands full. But let's start off on the East side real quick. Let's start in the Eastern Conference. We'll start off with that New York Knicks versus Philadelphia 76ers. This was a 3 versus 7. Knicks were the 3 seed, 76ers were the 7 seed. This one was a sweep. The Knicks won it in 4 games, but they didn't just beat the Knicks, man. They obliterated them. This series wasn't close from the first tip off. There's
only really one game that was even remotely close, and none of them felt like they were close at all. It just felt like the 76ers were trying to jump on a runaway train, and it was not going to happen.
Well, that's kind of what it exactly like from the first tip off. It just felt like we knew the Knicks were moving on. Game 1 was 137-98 Knicks over the 76ers. That's a 39-point deficit. To set an example like that in game 1, you're really setting the tone for the series. Like, hey, we are the better team here, and we are going to make you work for even to get to 100 points in a game. It makes it really hard to compete.
And you look at what the Knicks did in closeout game 6, they win by 52 points against the Hawks. So it's
right.
You're finishing one series and starting the next one with just running over a team.
Exactly.
And it's completely demoralizing at that point. What do you do?
Right.
I mean, you pick yourself off the paint and go, okay, we're going to try to claw back and win a game, but none of them were close.
Yeah. Well, and then you go to game 2, Knicks 108, 76ers 102. This was the closest game of the series, but even just watching the game, it didn't really feel like a close game. The final score was close, but you could just tell the Knicks were in charge the whole game. Like they were in charge, they were in control. It was kind of just one of those games where it was like, yeah, the score looks close, but I know what I saw, I know what I watched, and the Knicks, now they're up 2-0. It was kind of feeling at that point like, yeah, it's probably going to be a sweep, And then you go to game 3, it was Knicks 108, 76ers 94. So, I mean, that one's another, 14-point game there. Just making a gutsy statement. When the first game on the road, they immediately go up 3-0, and it's just like, yeah, it's the 76ers are going to have their hands full if they're going to even try to compete in this series. And then game 4 in Philly, the Knicks 144, 76ers 114. I mean, that's another 30-point game there. I mean, they just didn't belong. Like I said, it was a year or two early for the 76ers, but it was really good for this team. They're young, man. It was really good for them to get that experience in the playoffs. kind of get beat up in the playoffs. It kind of makes you a little hungry next year, make you come back a little stronger. The Knicks made...
Well, honestly, it felt like the Knicks were expecting the Celtics. Let's be realistic here. That's who they were expecting to face in this series. They end up not getting the Celtics. And I feel like the 76ers are in the same boat that the Knicks were, was they got humbled last year really bad by the Celtics, and then they came back hungry this year. Well, then the Celtics aren't even in the dance, and it's time for us to feast. We're projected to go to the finals if we play our cards right, and they put on a clinic. They showed, okay, we are the team now. This is our East to lose right now, and I don't think it's going to be close with the way this next series is going to look, because, I mean, we haven't gotten to it yet, but the Cavaliers beat a Pistons team that just felt like they kept losing fight. Right. It was like you would see these stretches where they would be clearly better than the Cavaliers, and then they just decide, all right, we don't have to play anymore. We can ease off, and then we lose by 5 points. Well, you were up by 15 in a game. What are you doing?
Yeah, no, I agree, and we'll talk about that more when we get there. But I agree with you. I mean, this game 4 was pretty crazy. I mean, the Knicks made 25 3-pointers. That's historic. They went 25 for 44 from 3. That's 56.8 shooting. It's the most in a playoff game in NBA history. It matches the 2016 Cavaliers and the 2021 Milwaukee Bucks. So, I mean, really in this game, this whole series, I mean, the 76ers, it just felt helpless. Like, it was just like, man, they just don't have enough depth. They don't have enough health. I mean, Embiid was leaving it all out on the line out there. I mean, the guy was battling through, ankle injury, hip injury, this, that, and the guy was still showing up, and he played well. Like he did really play well. It just wasn't enough, man. This Knicks team is good. I've said a couple times on here, you guys, like, I'm not a huge fan of Jalen Brunson's game. I'll be the first to admit it. I've just never really liked the way he plays basketball, but I will never say he's not a good basketball player. I mean, the guy is when it comes to offense, the guy is phenomenal. I've said it time and time again, and I'll say it again. I do feel like he's a liability on defense, but when he's playing the way he did in this series, I mean, I know
you don't have to worry about defense when you're up by 30 points.
That's what I was just going to say. Like, they say defense wins championships, but if you can't...
They also say the best defense is a great offense, right?
Exactly. So, I mean, when you're outscoring teams by, 30, 35 points a night, I mean, do you really need to play defense that great? Yeah, I mean, you just keep shooting them out of the gym. So, Jalen had a good series. Really, he did. I mean, let's talk about Karl Anthony Towns first. I've never seen Anthony Towns play the way he played. The way he was passing the ball, and I mean, dude, he posted a 45.7% assist rate against Philly. In that series, he assisted on 45.7% of the points scored. That's insane. That's like, I mean, you're talking like high level point guard numbers there. Like, this guy played absolutely awesome. It's the highest by any heavy minute player in the series, or in any series this postseason. For some context here, Nikola Jokic's assist rate against the Wolves in round 1 was 44.1. Towns was 45.7 in this round. So, I mean, he was playing at Nikola Jokic level in this series. It felt like the offense was just running through Karl Anthony Towns, and it worked. It looked great. They played awesome. Jalen Brunson, dude, he controlled the pace. He controlled the tempo of the series from start to finish. This guy, the old saying, like, oh, he's a maestro on the court. Like, he was, man. He was a maestro of the mid-range in this series. Like, he was just getting buckets. It was crazy. He really kept the 76ers team on their heels, dude. Like, he played absolutely awesome offensively. I'm not going to talk about the defense. We already went over that, but he played really well. I was pretty impressed with him.
Yeah, it felt like the 76ers had a game plan, but the old Mike Tyson adage, everyone's got a game plan until you get punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
The Knicks just kept punching. Like, it was not a fun watch most nights, because once they had you down, they didn't stop. They kicked you, they beat you, they made you submit. All right, you're not going to go quietly into the night. We're going to make sure you remember this whooping for next year.
Right. Well, and it was like one knockout blow after another. It's like, man, the guy's done. Like, just let him go. you know, it really carried over from that Hawks series. They, like you said, they blew the Hawks out of the gym that last game.
They found their game. They went through Karl Anthony Towns. They found how he's going to really orchestrate the ball to the players. Jalen Brunson was on a roll for scoring. It just continually trickled into, all right, now we're unstoppable. We're a well-fed machine. We figured out our playoff strategy. I mean, once the Hawks, I thought were going to do a lot better in that series, and then they end up losing the last game 52 points.
Right.
And then I was like, all right, well, the 76ers just beat the Celtics, who were supposed to be the heavy favorites, so this will be a really interesting series. No, it was not interesting at all. It was maybe from tip off, and then after that, it was over. It was not really a good watch. It was not fun. It was good to see that the young guys, like you said, for the 76ers are going to have a nice big chip on their shoulder this off season. They're going to come in and go, okay, we know where we have to get better. We shouldn't have gotten blown out like this, but it's the coming of the Knicks right now.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like the 76ers team is going to be really good next year. Like, it's going to be a scary team next year. I don't know what they're going to do in the offseason. I don't know if they end up moving on from Embiid finally or what. We'll get into that in other episodes, but just, just quick reference here. I think the 76ers team is going to be really, really good next year. I think they'll be right in the middle of the East, probably a 4 or 5 seed. It's early prediction. I'm just throwing this out there, but what I saw this year was a lot of growth and a lot of potential, a lot of young talent really starting to come around. And I think if you're a 76ers fan, you've got to be, even though this series was hard to watch, it kind of hurt, but you've got to be really excited about the future there in Philadelphia because it looked really good. But the other thing I want to talk about with New York here, the Knicks, their defense was actually really good. I know we talk about like Brunson being a liability and stuff, but I'm just saying Brunson. I'm not saying the whole team. The team as a whole plays great defense. I mean, they were suffocating in all 4 of these games. Philly had 0 answers for them. They had no counter for the punches they were landing, and it just there was nothing that Philly could do to stop this team. The Knicks' depth. I mean, dude, they had 10 guys contributing every night. That's all the way down the bench. Every
bench
player
points are getting points left and right. You're just on fire at that point. It doesn't matter who we throw on the court, we're going to get points out of them.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. I mean, Philly goes home early again. It happens. This team is really starting to develop. Like I said, that I really like this Philly team going forward. I don't know. I don't know how you were going to compete with that team once you got there, because this Knicks team was just they're ready to win a title. They really are.
Well, they were playing with house money. I mean, let's be realistic. The Celtics were supposed to beat them. That's what everyone had. So you end up beating the Celtics. You get further than you should have been in the first year of this playoff, really long playoff pushes that you guys are going to have coming up.
Right.
You get further ahead than you should have. So now you're going to go, all right, well, we were better than the Celtics, who were supposed to be the champions, and then we get humiliated by the Knicks. How do we fix that? And then it also creates in that locker room a sense of urgency of, all right, now we got to worry about practice. We got to worry about every little small thing that we didn't care about, and we're going to fine tune it and hone it down. And next year we're going to be putting the hurting on people by 30 points.
Right. And one of the big things about a sweep like this, the Knicks ended up earning a full week of rest here to go into the Eastern Conference Finals. Now you can look at that 2 ways. Sometimes teams don't compete very well after having that kind of rest. Some teams it's really big for them, especially if you're battling some injuries and stuff. It gives you a whole week to kind of recover and heal and get ready for the next series. So I am excited to see how they come out in game 1 in the Eastern Conference Finals, because they could look a little rusty. They could. Or they could be, pick up right where they left off. It's going to be fun to see. I'm predicting that they're going to pick up right where they left off.
I think it's going to be exactly like the Thunder, where you get that rest time, kind of move through these teams really fast. But we have rest, we have health now. We already know how our game's going to jive together. You guys are still practicing day in and day out, so it's not like I mean, you listen to these players all because they're not playing. They're still in the gym for 4 to 8 hours a day. All right, we're going to still hone our craft. We might not be playing a full game, but we're still going to play a simulated game with our locker room.
Right. Well, it's not like these guys are just sitting at home for a week. Like, no, they're staying in shape. They're professionals.
They're not playing as high a level as these games, the actual games call for. But I just feel like the Cavaliers are over their skates with this one. I don't think the Cavaliers are going to match up very well in this matchup.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that because that is a good topic that a lot of people are probably wondering on. But real quick here, so this is back-to-back conference finals for the Knicks. This hasn't happened in a long time, you guys. I mean, the Knicks, before last year, it had been 20-plus years before the Knicks were even in the conference finals. 2000 was the last time they were there, where they played the Indiana Pacers, which is who they lost to last year. So going back-to-back, this is huge for New York, man. New York, it's the mecca of basketball for a reason, you know. I mean, Madison Square Garden is going to be hopping. We're going to see all the celebrities out, just like we always do in the playoffs in New York City. It's always fun to watch the Knicks in the playoffs, just because of it's such a big spotlight being in Madison Square Garden, MSG. They have such a great fan base, just big names.
Well, I mean, they traveled very well to Philadelphia. Right. They didn't mind driving over there to Philadelphia. I mean, the Sixers Palace became the Knicks Palace.
Yeah.
We didn't really talk very much about it, but it's very hard to win games in your own home arena when you're getting booed for scoring.
Right, exactly.
Okay, the visitors are in and their crowd is overpowering ours right now.
Yeah.
When your star is saying, "Hey, please, we need you guys to keep your tickets. Don't sell them to New York."
Yeah, that was pretty funny by Joel Embiid. I really liked how he pointed out, like, "Oh, if you need the money that bad, I got you. Don't worry." Like, I really like Embiid, man. He's got a great sense of humor. I feel so bad for the guy. His body has betrayed him over and over again. But, a couple of players I want to talk about here. Some defensive standouts from the Knicks was Mikal Bridges. Dude, this guy is relentless. He plays absolutely tough defense. I mean, he's long, he's lanky. He uses his length to disrupt the passing lanes. He contests every pass, every shot. This guy averaged 1.75 steals per game. He was just very disruptive. It's not easy to get a bucket around this guy when he's guarding you, and he was locking guys up like Maxey and Paul George. He was locking them up. He was giving them fits. Another one was Josh Hart. As usual, Hart always plays good, but he's like a Swiss Army knife, man. This guy, he always dials it up to 11 when it comes to playoff basketball. He's just a really fun watch. He actually led the team in defensive activity. I mean, this guy was getting 2 steals a night. You combine that with 8.75 rebounds per game. Like, he was just all over the court doing everything for the Knicks. Another one's OG Anunoby. I love watching this guy play, man. He only played in 2 games in this series. He was battling a couple injuries, but when he was on the court, man, you couldn't miss him. He plays awesome. When the Sixers were trying to penetrate, he's just a really great defender. He's one of those 3-and-D kind of guys. He hits those corner threes, and he locks down stars, and that's what he does. Even though he was limited in this series, he still posted 2 steals and 1 block per game. So, I mean, he was out there setting a defensive tone, letting the Sixers know, like, we're not letting you get any easy buckets here.
Well, and so it's going to go into the next round. Now he's got health. He's got a week of extra time to be able to rehab that and get where he needs to be a tool in this next series.
Yeah.
This Knicks team was already good. Now, like you said, he only played 2 games. Now you're probably going to have him for the full series.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like, whenever these teams sweep in the playoffs, you can take it 2 ways. You always hear both sides of it. Well, they could get rusty. It could really hurt them coming in, that much break. But then you also hear the other side where it's like, oh, yeah, but, the injuries, the guys that had those kind of lingering ankle injuries or, something bothering them in their shoulder or something, they get a full week of rest now. And they get to come back into the series and, like you said, hopefully play all the games. Like, there's a plus and a minus to it. There really is. The last one I want to spotlight here is Karl Anthony Towns. I said it earlier and I'll say it again. This guy, they ran the offense through him and it looked phenomenal. I think they really started to figure out where they can use him to their absolute best. But his defense, he played awesome defense, man. Even though Joel Embiid was compromised, like I said, he had the injuries and stuff. He was out there trying to give it everything he had. But dude, Towns was really shutting him down. He was giving him fits. Towns really impressed me. I was really, really impressed with how he played. He was averaging 1.25 blocks per game and just looked really good. But I don't want to overlook the 76ers either here. There's a couple of guys I want to talk about. One of them is Embiid. Like I said, Embiid battled through some injuries in this. He is like the emotional leader of this team. He really is. Like, he wanted this so bad. He was out there even hurt. I mean, dude, when he was subbed out, you could see him laying on the floor, stretching his back out, trying to stay loose. Like, just give me a few more minutes out there so I can give everything I've got for this team. It was
the old Larry Bird,
right? It was really respectable. Like I respect what he was doing. I think you're laying it all out there on the line, man, and I respect the hell out of that. Game 4, he was not going to go down without a fight, man. He had 24 points as a team high. And he shot 8 for 8 from the floor, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Like, the guy really did give everything he had. And the other one was Tyrese Maxey. I thought Tyrese Maxey played pretty well. In game 2, Embiid was out. He was sidelined in that one. Maxey was phenomenal, dude. 26 points. That game saw 25 lead changes, and they nearly stole that game. Like I said, that was the closest game of the series, and Maxey was really the one leading that offense there. And so I'm really excited to see what Maxey becomes next year, because, man, he really broke out this season. Maxey's one of my favorite guards in the league right now. I think the guy is just phenomenal. And Edgecombe, being a rookie this year, playing the way he did, that's going to be a really, really scary backcourt here in the next, 2 years, even next year. Any final thoughts on that series, Trent, or you want to jump right into this next one?
I think we're good to jump into the next one. We've pretty much covered ad nauseum what we got for that series. I mean, it was just 76ers, you were there a year early.
Yep.
That's honestly the biggest takeaway is you were here a year early. Be excited for it.
Yep.
The Knicks, they're a hungry team that just lost to the champions last year. Well, they were the runner-up in the East, so it's one of those. Honestly, you could argue if the Achilles didn't go out for
Halliburton,
maybe they're winning the championship. So that one went to a game 7. So the Knicks are sitting there looking, wow, that could have been us. We could have won this.
Exactly.
So that was exact. I feel like this is going to be the exact case for the 76ers this year, where you're going to look at this and go, okay, here's where we fell short, but these guys are going to make a serious run now.
Yeah. This next one is a 1 seed versus 4 seed. It was the Pistons versus the Cavaliers. And man, what a series. This one was so fun to watch. 7 games, momentum swings every single game. We had an overtime thriller. I mean, a home court collapse, game 7 blowout. Like, this one had everything, dude. This was such a fun one. Game 1 was the Pistons, 111-101. They came out, they won game 1 at home, and then game 2 they win 107-97. It started looking like, okay, like, Pistons kind of struggled against the Magic. They went to 7 games there. They got through the first round, and now it looked like at this point it was like, okay, like, they're going to shut the Cavs down. They're going to move right on. They're the 1 seed for a reason. But then we go over to Cleveland and start playing. Now the Cavs win 116-109. Cavs win the game 4, 112-103. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, now it's 2-2 and we're headed back to Detroit. Like, this is getting interesting, Game 5, Cavaliers 117, Pistons 113 in overtime. Cleveland steals a game in Detroit. They take that home court advantage away from them. And that was kind of the turning point of this series, man. That was a massive swing. You could just kind of see it on the guys' faces and their body language, like, uh-oh, this isn't good.
Well, I mean, that game just felt like Detroit just stopped scoring. I mean, they went. This entire series felt like Detroit collapsed upon themselves.
Yeah,
I mean,
did.
I don't know what your entire thoughts process is, but they continually kept having the lead, and then they would just go on long periods of stretches where they would quit scoring. They would just wouldn't score, and then next thing you know, you're tied up again, or the Cavs now had the lead, and you're trying to claw back for it, where you started so well, like you said, game 1 and game 2. All right, we got to handle business. We almost got humiliated by the Magic. I felt like that was the wake-up call, and then you get up 2-0, and then you fall asleep again. Like, all right, well, we know we're better than these guys. Well, you're not better until you win the series, and that's ultimate. Game 5, 6, and 7 was an indictment on the Pistons. I feel like game 5, they fell asleep when they had the lead. They end up losing that game. Game 6, you end up, all right, well, now our back's against the wall. We have to win this one. And you do win 6. Right. And then you go back to game 7, and then you get punched in the mouth and humiliated on your own court in Detroit. And it just felt like you quit. You guys just quit is what that entire game felt like was, all right, well, it wasn't going our way, and we're just going to roll up our sleeves and go to next year.
Yeah, well, and it was weird because, game 1 and 2, home team wins. Game 2, 3, and 4, home team wins. And then it just completely reversed. The Cavs won in Detroit for game 5. Now all of a sudden we go back to Cleveland and the Pistons win 115-94. And it was like, what's going on here? And then, like you said, we get to game 7 back in Detroit, and the Cavs just, man, they blew them out. 31 points, 125-94. It looked like from tip-off in that game, it just looked like the Cavs are winning this. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And they just walked away from tip-off. They just walked away, and it was pretty crazy. Some of the stat lines from game 7, Donovan Mitchell had 26 points, 8 assists. Jared Allen had 23 points, 7 rebounds. Evan Mobley, 21 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. Then Sam Merrill came off the bench, 23 points, 5 of 8 from 3-point. They just looked like a complete team in that game. Like, I don't know what the coach said in the locker room that fired him up. But like I said, from tip off on, you knew immediately Cleveland's winning this series. It's over. Cleveland shot 50.6% from the field in game 7 and had 31 assists. That is like championship level ball movement.
Scoring. I mean,
right. Like that's
just putting it on.
That's how you win titles in the NBA. That's how you do it. Detroit starters, they only scored 47 points combined in game 7. Cleveland starters scored 88 points. Like that right there just shows you the discrepancy. Like 88 to 47. That's your what is that? 41 points?
Yep.
That's basically your 31 point blowout right there.
Yep.
Yeah, like that. That's it.
And that's honestly what it felt like was the starters for the Pistons just
didn't show up.
They just didn't show up, and they didn't care. They just, all right, whatever, we're done.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll concede this one to you guys and move on to next year. And I was not impressed with game 7 at all because it felt like there was absolutely zero fight to this team.
Yeah.
But I thought, this team was a little bit more gritty than that. They take on that Detroit personality. You got MCDC over there with the Lions. You got the Red Wings who are on the comeback, where it just feels like Detroit's that kind of gritty town where they find a way to make it happen. And these guys did not have any bit of that. They didn't have any bad boy mentality. They didn't have anything. It just was, oh, we got punched in the mouth and we're going to quit.
Yeah.
And it felt like that from the beginning. Like once the Cavs started getting that lead, it just kept growing and growing and growing and growing. I honestly thought we were going to look at a 50-point blowout here before too long.
Well, at one point it looked like it might. I mean, it's hard when your star comes out. Cade Cunningham struggled in that game 7. He had 13 points, 5 of 16 shooting. He's obviously one of the most elite players in this league. I mean, he even got some votes for first place in MVP this year. He's an absolute star in the league. But to me, this looked like it made it obvious. Like, he cannot carry this team to a championship. They need to build more around him. Well,
and if he has an off night like that, everyone else should be able to roll up their sleeves and pick up the pace for him.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like goalies in hockey, right? Where, all right, you're having a bad night, so the rest of the team has to play very good. Or the rest of the team's playing really bad, and then the goalie's playing out of his skull. Well, Cade Cunningham usually does that for you guys. He plays out of his skull. That's why you guys win these games. Well, when he has a bad night, you guys completely fall apart. Oh, well, I guess Cade's having a bad night. We're going to die with him.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. Like, Jalen Duran was awesome all regular season, but he did not have a good playoffs at all. And to me, it's like I think it's unfair to put it all on Cade. Yes, Cade had a bad game. That's going to happen. These star players, they don't play A+ games every single night. Now, more times than not, they play A+. But you're going to have an off night. And like you said, that's when the team really has to step up and fill that gap. And it just felt like there was nobody to fill that gap. I mean, don't get me wrong. There were some guys who stepped up here, and we'll get into some of them, but the guys that needed to didn't. And it's, to me, it's an unfair criticism to say that Cunningham had to play better, because I really thought Cunningham had a really good playoffs. He did have some bad games, but overall he played good. Jalen Duren really struggled in this playoffs, and I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the heat of the moment or what, but I mean, you look at his regular season and then his playoffs, and I mean, we're talking Jekyll and Hyde here. I mean, it was two totally different players. One of the guys that did really step up that I was really impressed with was Dennis Jenkins. He led Detroit in scoring in Game 7. He had 17 points, but the problem is that can't be the guy. That's not a winning formula. That when Dennis Jenkins is a bench player who finds himself in the starting role here, that can't be your leading scorer. That just can't happen. Duren's got to step up. Yeah. Cunningham's got to play better.
He's got 17. Your starter, whoever's taking the number one spot should have at least 34.
Right.
I mean, that's what we're looking at here. Is why is your bench player outscoring everybody else on your team? I get that Cunningham's going to have a bad night, but everyone else should have stepped up into that shadow. I mean, you look at Michael Jordan, he didn't just carry the Bulls by himself. He had Scottie Pippen.
Exactly.
He had a team that, all right, if he should have one weird night, somebody else would step in that role for him, and then he only has to score his points to get them in the clutch situations.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you look at LeBron, he's had the same thing where LeBron has carried teams, but then when he has a bad night, he's had players around him that fill those voids and get the job done. Well, Cade Cunningham did not have that luxury at all in this. If they lived and died with him, and if he had a bad night, everyone else just kind of shut down and said, "Oh, well, our star's not going to do it tonight. We're done."
Yep.
And you can't do that. That's why I felt like this team just had no fight, no anything in them. Because once Cunningham was not on fire in Game 7, the rest of the team just folded like a lawn chair.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up Jordan. I mean, the nights that Jordan would have 18 in the playoffs, Pippen would have 31. Yeah, he would step up. He would fill that gap, and it just felt like there was nobody to do that with this Pistons team. So they've really, going into this offseason, I think they've got a lot to look at. It's time to, if you're going to be a serious contender, I mean, they were the number 1 seed in the East for a reason. They were a great team, but if you're going to contend in the playoffs, it's time to build around Cunningham and really sit down and consider, hey, what do we need to put around him to get us over that hump and get us into an Eastern Conference Finals and into an NBA Finals and potentially win it, But Cleveland, they played really well. The old saying about James Harden, he falls apart in the playoffs. He did have some bad games, but he also had some really good games.
In this playoffs, he just fell on the floor and threw a fit.
Yeah, that one game, I wasn't a fan of that. But Cleveland, this is their first time going to the Eastern Conference Finals since 2018. This will be the first time they've been there without LeBron James since 1992. So we're kind of looking at a different era here in Cleveland. This is the Donovan Mitchell era. This is now James Harden is there. The Mobley and Allen era. Like, this is a fun team. It's a young team. It's exciting to watch. This is the first time Donovan Mitchell's been out of the second round. So I'm excited to see what he does in an Eastern Conference Finals. But big picture here, I think we really got to look at Detroit and kind of be like, you had the best regular season record in the East. You were 60-22. You came back from 3-1 down to Orlando, the 8th seed in the first round. They made you really work for that. And then you get bounced in the second round. Like, it's time. I think it's time to shake this thing up a little bit. Obviously, Cunningham's not going anywhere. He's a star. We know that. But it's time, like I said, to sit down and really, there's some big questions.
A number 2
here.
that's going to,
right.
When Cade falls apart or has a bad night, somebody's got to step in, and you don't have it now. You just proved that in this playoffs.
Yep.
And like you said, I'm not trying to dog on any of you Cavalier fans. I'm sorry if it sounds like, oh, your team is not good enough to beat this
Oh no, because we'll get into that. Yeah.
You guys absolutely deserve the win that you had. You guys continually played hard. You were in every game that you played against these guys. You did not go quietly in the night. I mean, there was times that you guys could have done exactly what the Pistons did, which would have been, all right, we're down by 15, just roll it up and go to the next night.
Right.
You didn't. Multiple times you guys would come back, claw back, and then those would be the games that you would end up winning. And you take the series from them because of that. The team never died. They never quit. They knew what they had to do. And that game 5 was a case in point. You guys proved, all right, we can go into Detroit, win this game. And that was really the start of the Detroit collapse because you guys put too much pressure on them. And then I felt like it just tore apart the Pistons locker room where they didn't know where they needed to be. If we don't have Cunningham playing out of his skull, who's going to fill the void? What are we going to do? And you guys put a lot of pressure on that Pistons team where they fell apart. And then that was when you guys rose from the ashes.
Right. And the biggest thing with Detroit was, and it was all playoffs. They were super, super streaky. I mean, against Orlando, they had stretches where they didn't score points for 3-4 minutes. And then all of a sudden they'd go and score, 17 points in 5 minutes. It was just a really streaky team. It was weird to watch. It was weird. I don't know how to explain it, but let's jump over to the West now. Let's go to this one.
Well, if you're a team doing that and you're not scoring for 3 to 4 minutes, you're not winning most of those games.
Exactly.
You're not usually making it out of round 1 of the playoffs.
Yep.
I mean, you're talking 4 minutes of elite basketball without scoring any points. You're not getting any twos. You're not going in and into the paint and just, all right, we got to get something on the board now and stop your guys' role. And it wasn't even where 3 or 4 minutes of them not scoring, but they had exceptional defense. It was 3 or 4 minutes, we're not scoring, and you guys keep putting it on us.
Yeah. It was weird. It was weird. But let's jump over to the West. We got the 1 seed versus the 4 seed. This is the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Los Angeles Lakers. This series, it felt like LA really had their hands full before this one even tipped off. I mean, Doncic didn't play at all. LeBron's 41 years old, and the guy played phenomenal. It's been really fun to watch what he's been able to do in his career, especially this late in his career. I mean, it's amazing that the guy's even playing still, but to be as competitive and as dominant as he still is impressive. But he is at an age where he can't do it by himself anymore. Well, I mean Doncic, he wasn't healthy, man.
He took over that Rocket series. You can't expect that against the Oklahoma Thunder team.
Right.
This team is the number 1 team. They're the championship winner last year for a reason. The Lakers really had it in them to, I think, maybe win 1 game in this series, and I thought that was what was going to happen. I figured LeBron was going to will them to a 1 win.
Right. I thought they would get 1.
The Lakers just could not counterpunch that Thunder. Every time it felt like the Lakers would start getting a little bit of momentum, Shai, Chet, they'd slap them in the mouth and say, no, you're still losing this game. Sorry.
Yeah.
Too bad, so sad. This is our game to control, and that's honestly what they did. They continually just kept putting more and more pressure on the Lakers, and it was not pretty at all.
Yeah, and this Oklahoma City team is great. I mean, don't be fooled. Getting swept by them is not like a bad thing. This team is so deep that they're loaded with superstars. They're deep all the way down the bench. I mean, they're the defending champions for a reason. They've gotten through 2 rounds now without a loss. They're 8-0 in the playoffs. But one thing I will say is I don't feel like they've really been tested yet. Like that they had the Suns in the first round, and now the Lakers.
This round's going to test them.
This one is going to test them. You're right, and it's going to be interesting to see how they respond. But so far they haven't been tested. I mean, the game 1, Thunder 108, Lakers 90. Game 2 was Thunder 125, Lakers 107. Game 3 was 131 to 108, and then game 4 was 115 to 110. Again, this was one of those series where it just felt like the Thunder dominated from tip-off of the first game all the way through. Luka Doncic didn't play at all. That hamstring injury is still bothering him. If he'd have returned, I think we're looking at a little bit of a different series. I still think the Thunder get through them, but maybe they win 2 here. With LeBron and Doncic, maybe they could get 2 games out of this, but I don't think it would have changed the end result of this series. In all honesty, I just don't. But
I think it still would have been. I think it would have been a gentleman's sweep for sure. I think they would have been able to score a little bit more points in that game 4 to get the win, because I felt like
game 4 was fairly close.
Like the Lakers could have won one of the games at home if they had Luka, but they would not have won in OKC, and that's why it would have been a gentleman's sweep, because Oklahoma would have, at that point, you're looking at Luka maybe coming back in game 4, then you end up winning that game, but he's back for game 5. Oklahoma, I feel, at home just would be too much of a menace for you guys, and they're still going to get past you, but you guys at least get the gentleman sweep out of them and challenge them a little bit. But without that little bit of extra firepower, there was just no way you guys were going to be able to keep up with this team. And I felt like LeBron tried his best. I mean, that game 4 was really close. And I felt like one of them was going to be, it's just one of those things, like the king doesn't go down without swinging, right? So you felt like he had one win in him, or you were hoping he did, but it just did not happen.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, maybe this is a hot take. Let me know in the comments if you think that, but I just think there's really no shame in losing to OKC, you guys. This team is absolutely from top to bottom, this team is great. But this was supposed to be like one of those potential like Western Conference Finals matchups. If Doncic was healthy and stuff, there was a lot of people saying this Lakers team could go to the conference finals. So it was kind of a tough watch, because it was like, LeBron's older now. He's had a great career. It's been fun to watch, like it was kind of tough to like watch LeBron just go down like that. Like, man, like you didn't even get one game out of him. But I think LeBron's going to be back next year. We'll get into that too in other episodes down the road. But I have a feeling he didn't seem like he was done at the end of that, if you know what I mean. Like he didn't seem like he was ready to walk away yet. I think he feels like he's got another run in him.
You want to get to 300 playoff games?
Yeah. I mean, did he hit 300?
No, I think he hit 296, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, I thought he hit 300.
I think with the first game of that one, it was 292, and he set the record.
Okay. Or yeah, maybe that's what it was. He broke the all-time record, but okay. Yeah, I mean, I think LeBron, I think he's going to be back, dude. I really do. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, dude, he just got announced as the back-to-back MVP. No one's done that since Nikola Jokic did it in 21 and 22. This guy, he is absolutely phenomenal. He is such a great basketball player. It just feels like he's destined to win another one here. He won it. He won the MVP last year. He won the Finals MVP. They win the championship. Now we come back 1 year later. He wins the MVP again.
Not so fast, my friend. Not so fast.
It does. It feels like it's shaping up for that. I mean, dude, he averaged 31.1 points on 55.3% shooting from the field. That's crazy. That was his regular season stats. These playoffs, he's looked every bit of that. He's looked like the best player on the planet. Mark Daigneault, he praises him over and over again. There's a reason this guy's a back-to-back MVP. Like I said, there's a reason for it, but it's not all offense. This OKC team is one of the best defensive teams in the league. They're absolutely suffocating everywhere on the 3-point line, down low, everything. They are a very, very well put together team. This team is very well built from the top to the bottom, and it just you see it every night when they go out there and play, especially in the playoffs. That everyone steps up. It's not just Shai. I mean, Chet Holmgren, AJ Mitchell coming off the bench played phenomenal. Alex Caruso, just a dog, dude. Caruso is a defensive dog. This guy has, I don't know what it is that drives him, but it is fun to watch. Case and Wallace, everybody contributed all the way down the line. It sounds like Jalen Williams is going to be back for this next round. So I'm excited to see that, because you look at this, they swept through the playoffs so far, and they didn't even have their arguably their second best player. You could argue Chet's their second best as well, but that big three, they were missing a piece of it. Jalen Williams is very important to this team, and they just didn't skip a beat, dude. AJ Mitchell just stepped up. It was like he wasn't even gone.
They're going to be going against a team that swept them in the year series. So
4-1 against them.
Oh yeah, close enough, gentleman sweep.
But again, like I said, man, LeBron and the Lakers, there's no shame in losing to the Thunder. This team is great. Here little question for you. No NBA team has repeated as the champion since Golden State Warriors did it in 2017, 2018. Okay. OKC is trying to do this, right? They're trying to repeat. They're in the Western Conference Finals now. They've got a tough matchup, but they look like a great team. Are we? I know we've talked about it before, and everyone's saying it, but are we actually seeing a dynasty form here? Is that what OKC is becoming? Because it feels like it to me. It feels like we're seeing like the start of what the Spurs were in the 2000s, or the Bulls in the 90s.
Definitely dynasty potential. The problem is they have one other team in the West that's really going to be a thorn in their side, and I think the series is going to really prove that out. But the dynasty that they're going to have is going to be unlike Golden State because they just have so many draft picks. I mean, they sucked for so long, and they traded and traded and traded back, and now they finally built this really great team, and they are going to continue because they have all these other people's picks for the next 10 years.
Right.
Where it's not going to stop. They're just going to keep getting, you guys ended up as the number 3 pick. All right, we got your pick. Boom, we're going to do that.
Yeah.
Or we're going to trade for your player so you can get your pick back.
It's just going to be a revolving door of role players coming in and out of there.
And it's not like they're going to be tied to money problems because, all right, if it comes down to money problems, well, we have enough talent that coming into the draft, we can let you go.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go test the free market out. We don't care.
Yep. They're not going to be afraid to let one of these guys just walk.
And with the dynasty and the potential that they have, I think you're going to see players take discounts and go, hey, I want to be part of this dynasty. I want to hoist six trophies. I want the Larry O'Brien trophy 6-7 times. And I feel like this team is going to be the one that's going to do it.
Right.
The only problem that they have is there's an alien over there in Texas who's playing some solid basketball right now.
Well, and that's the last matchup here. We'll get into this last one is the San Antonio Spurs versus Minnesota Timberwolves, the 2 seed versus 6 seed. San Antonio wins this one in 6 games. They win 4-2. This wasn't really a shock because the Spurs were the 2 seed in the West. They should have won this series, but the Spurs taking down the Timberwolves, it was impressive because the Timberwolves just took down the Nuggets. Mm-hmm. They were the 2023 NBA champions. They had arguably the best player on the planet, Nikola Jokic, which he didn't have a great series, but that Nuggets team is a good, really, really good team. They're an NBA title level team, and the Timberwolves were battling injuries and all this stuff, and they still took them down. So to see the Spurs win, it was impressive.
2 years ago, the Timberwolves went to the Western Conference Finals against Dallas, right?
Well, they were in the conference finals the last 2 years. Yeah. So, I mean,
so it's not like this team is just no slouch. They've continually been there. I think it could have been a complete different series if they would have had all their players healthy for this matchup.
Yes.
And even without all their players, I mean, Anthony Edwards is a freak. I mean,
dude, he's so fun to watch.
No die in that team. Rudy Gobert has that kind of tenacity. I mean, it feels like you're watching Michael Jordan's son and freaking Dennis Rodman's son out there just playing defense and offense together and putting on a show.
Yeah, and I mean, Edwards had that hyperextended knee against the Nuggets. He ended up playing this whole series. He came off the bench the first 2 games, but he played awesome. I just don't understand how this man recovers as quick as he does. I heard that some of the players were saying that they nicknamed him Wolverine because he just heals like overnight. It's crazy, and he does. I mean, how do you come back from that? You know, that knee injury that looked ugly. I thought he tore something in the knee, and he ended up not. It was just hyperextended, but he was playing a couple nights later. Yeah, you know, coming off the bench and playing like a starter, like he is. It's unfortunate that DiVincenzo tore his Achilles. That really hurt this Timberwolves team because he is an offensive spark plug for this team. But I do think that the Spurs would have won regardless, but I think this would have went to 7. I definitely think this would have went to 7. But this one, game 1, Timberwolves win 104-102. They immediately took that home court advantage away. They win in San Antonio game 1. Like I said, Edwards came off the bench with the knee injury, but he played phenomenal in game 1. Game 2, the Spurs go out, whoop up on them, 133-95, 38-point beatdown. They sent a message. You guys
caught us
got
off guard, and
you caught
now
us
we're gonna
off
punch
guard.
you in the face.
But Edwards came off the bench and played really well. Game 3, Spurs go out and win again. So now they go to Minnesota and they win one there, 115-108. So now they take control. But in this game, Edwards returned to the starting lineup. Game 4, Timberwolves go out, upset them again, 114-109. It's like, all right, we got a series here, man. This is fun.
Game 4, there was some controversy in this one. I mean,
there was.
It felt like the second Wemby got out of that game, it was over for the Spurs.
Yeah.
And honestly, we talked about this off the podcast. If they suspend him for game 5, it might have been curtain call for the Spurs.
I agree. If he wasn't, if there was more punishment for that elbow, I do feel like the Timberwolves would have upset the Spurs.
Well, they would have taken game 5.
Yep.
And then you're talking about going back to Minnesota to close out. That was a dangerous environment, man.
Yeah. But what ends up happening is the Timberwolves win game 4 after Wemby gets thrown out of the game. Game 5, Spurs win that one, 126-97. Wemby does play. We find out he's not going to be suspended. They kind of just called it, hey, it's whatever. It happened. We're done with it. So now the Spurs are up 3-2. And then game 6, they go to Minnesota, and the Spurs just took over. It was 139-109. It was a 30-point blowout. It didn't feel close at all in this game. The Wolves just had no answer for them, and you could tell it was kind of like some of the other series where it was just like from tip off, it was just like, yeah, it's over. Game 6, man, Stephon Castle, 14 points in the first quarter. He was on fire. And then to start the second quarter, San Antonio goes on a 20-0 run, extended the lead to 56-27. And like I said, it felt like from the start of the game, it was just, it's over.
The Spurs could see the end in sight, and
right,
they spurred that horse to the finish line.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it was all right. We know where the finish line is, and we got to suffocate these guys, because if we you watched, I'm sure they watched film. If you let these guys hang around us like the Nuggets did, we are going to lose.
Exactly.
We cannot let them hang around. They cannot be anywhere near the vicinity of us. We have to put our foot on their throat and keep them out of this game.
Yep.
And that's exactly what they did. They had a game plan, and they executed it to perfection.
Yes,
we have to keep going. We cannot let you guys just get runs going and start coming back on us. We have to keep our margin high of, all right, we're up. Keep up. We cannot start losing any ground towards you guys, because if you guys get a little bit of ground, it's one of those. This Wolves team was one of those. It's like a little kid, right? You give them an inch and they're going to take the mile. They're going to run with it. Oh, we can smell blood in the water, and we're going.
Yeah. Well, and like we said, I mean, this team, it's not like this is a joke. I mean, they were in the last 2 Western Conference Finals, so this team's been there. They're trying to get over that hump to get to a finals. But man, it also helps in game 6 when 3 of your top players shoot 11 for 17 from 3. I mean, De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, and Devin Vassell, 11 for 17 from 3-point. I mean, they were just shooting lights out. And then like we said, Castle in the first quarter had 14 points, I think I said. I think it was 14. Yeah, 14 points in the opening quarter. So I mean, just dominant. They look dominant. But we haven't even talked about the really dominant player here. Victor Wembanyama, in game 6, he had what he would say by his own standards is a pedestrian game. He had 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 blocks in 27 minutes. They still won by 30. Like that shows you the depth that this Spurs team has. They got guys coming off the bench. I mean, Keldon Johnson won the 6th man of the year. This team is deep. They got a rookie, Dylan Harper, who is playing like a top tier guard right now. I mean, this team is crazy deep. Harper comes off the bench for this team. He was a 2nd overall pick in the draft. He's a rookie. He should not be playing that well in the playoffs yet. And he looks like a seasoned vet, dude. This team is great. This team is absolutely.
Well, and it goes to the exact opposite point of we were talking about with the Pistons, right? he has, in his opinion, a pedestrian game where he's getting 19. So that was him saying, I didn't have the best night I could possibly have had. And everyone else stepped up and filled the void, and we cremated you guys. It was not close from the jump. That's what you have to have. I mean, Pistons, take notes, because the Spurs just put on a clinic of what you should be able to do when your number one guy is having an off night for himself.
Yeah. The defense of the Spurs team is really good too.
I mean, defensive player of the year, Wemby.
Yeah.
Like you said, 3 blocks. I mean, this guy has been a menace on defense all playoff long. Well, not only playoffs, all season
year,
long.
Yeah. Well, and it feels like he always comes up with a block at the absolute moment when they need one the most. He swats one into the 4th row. This defense held Minnesota to 37.7 shooting from the field in Game 6. Just having Wemby on the court, it just changes the game. He's got such a crazy wingspan. I mean, the guy's got like an 8-foot wingspan, something just unreal. Like you said, he won Defensive Player of the Year. He won it for a reason. He won it over Chet Holmgren, and Chet Holmgren had a great defensive season. So, but Anthony Edwards, he finished 24 points, 9 of 26 shooting in Game 6. It was just a tough night for Ant-Man. I mean, the guy is just phenomenal. He tried to do everything he could to keep this team in it, but it was just too much to overcome.
Yeah, he tried to will them to a victory so bad, but when you have 5 other people willing their team to a blowout, there's just nothing you can do. Well,
and it also doesn't help. Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert combined for 3 points in Game 6. They were 1 for 12 from the field. Like, Randle completely disappeared. Randle had a bad series. He had 3 games in this series that he was a minus 22 or worse. Like that's disastrous. That is absolutely disastrous. And Randall's a great player. Don't get me wrong, but he had a really bad series. It wasn't good. San Antonio's headed to the Western Conference Finals for the first time since the 2016-17 season. They're back on the big stage. Like I said earlier, back in the 2000s, this was a dynasty team here, and it looks like they're starting to put another dynasty back together potentially. This team is very deep, but man, it's crazy the kind of teams that there are in the West, because this Spurs team is going up against the Thunder now in the Western Conference Finals. The Spurs have proved every single doubter wrong at this point, you guys. They're 8-3 in the playoffs. 5 of their last 6 wins have been by 19 or more points. That's crazy. That's dominance is what that is. And it's such a young team too. I mean, you think about it. Wemby, De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper's a rookie this year. Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson just won 6th Man of the Year. Julian Champagny. Like, I'm curious to see what the ceiling of this team is. I really am, because this team, if they keep these guys together, this is going to be a team. It might end up being the Spurs versus the Thunder for the next 10 years in the Western Conference Final, you guys. These two teams are that good. It's crazy. And they're that young too. It's mind blowing, dude. I mean, what do you think, Trent?
I think it's going to be fun. I don't know if they're going to continually be the West matchup. I think that the Wolves are definitely going to figure it out. There's a few other contenders in that West Conference. I do think with them being there, though, the West is the best of the NBA.
I agree with that.
I think that's hands down. I'm sorry to say that to you, Eastern teams, the Eastern, but it's one of those deals. Like you watch the games and it's clearly head and shoulders above the rest.
Right.
You don't want the Thunder. You don't want the Spurs. Well, they're going to duke it out with each other.
Right.
And then you have to play the winner.
Well, the other thing about it is like you said, like these are the 2 best teams in the NBA, it feels like right now. And they're both in the West. All that does is drive the other teams in the West to be even better, because they've got to try to compete with them.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I don't think this will be the matchup the next 10 years. I'm just saying, like, it has the potential to be. These are the 2 best teams in the NBA.
Like you just said, it's going to force everyone else to be better. So you have the Timberwolves, who are already at the cusp, fighting on your heels. So they're going to try to get better. Like, it's going to be interesting to see the kind of player movement, what these teams end up doing to get themselves to a point where they can compete with these guys.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Jokic in Denver. I mean, what are they going to do this offseason to try to keep something around Jokic to keep competing? I mean, like I said, just a couple of years ago,
somebody's going to go ahead and pick up Antetokounmpo. I mean,
yeah,
it sounds like that's pretty much a good done deal where Milwaukee's taking offers and all right, yeah, we'll let you go.
Right.
So
yeah, so it is really interesting to think like what. Oh, look at the Rockets. The Rockets are a really young team. Yeah, they got bumped out in the first round this year, but man, that's a good up and coming team. Like it does. When you have teams that are this good, it just drives the rest of your conference to be even more competitive because they want to knock you down. They want to get that spot over you. But it's going to be fun to watch because these two teams, I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. I can't remember off the top of my head, and I should have wrote it down when I heard it, but I heard someone saying, I think it was earlier today, saying that these two teams, the average age between the Spurs and the Thunder is 25 years old. That's young, man.
Yep.
And they're the two teams facing off to go to the title or to the NBA finals. Like that's crazy. But that's round two. I know we took a little longer on that one, but I mean, there's only 4 series here. So I wanted to kind of get a little more in depth with them than we have been on the last couple episodes because we had a lot of games to talk about and stuff. This one we get to talk a little more in depth. So it makes it a little more fun. You guys get to hear a little more info, a little more stat driven here. But let's jump into these Eastern and Western Conference Finals now because we got some really, really, really good matchups here. We've got in the East, we've got the number 3 seed New York Knicks versus the number 4 seed Cleveland Cavaliers. This series is going to be, I think it's going to be a really good series. I know a lot of people were saying before the Cavs and Pistons were saying like, oh, the Pistons match up well with the Knicks, blah, blah, blah. I think this Cavs team actually matches up better against the Knicks than the Pistons do. I think this game or this series is going to be, it's not going to be what the Knicks have been so far in the playoffs. I don't think we're going to see a lot of blowout games in this one. I think this one's going to be a pretty tightly contested matchup all the way through. I want to talk about a few things before we get into predictions here, but like I said earlier, the Knicks are in back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals now. They're one series away from making their first NBA Finals appearance since 1998-99 season. I really think Madison Square Garden is going to be electric, man. I think it's going to be like even if you're not a basketball fan, sometimes when we get to this point in the playoffs, it's fun to just tune in and watch just to see who's at these games, see what's going on the sidelines. Like this is going to be really, really exciting. The other thing we talked about earlier, and I want to get a little more into, is the rest. Is the rest going to be an advantage for the Knicks, or is it going to be a detriment for them? What do you think about that, Trenton? Because I've always kind of leaned more towards I don't want that much rest in the playoffs because you get in a groove. And I feel like when you get in a groove, you want to stay in that groove. I feel like when you're constantly getting this much rest, it kind of throws you off.
I feel like rest versus rust really does not matter when it comes to hockey and basketball.
Okay.
And here's my reasoning, because I feel like you really have this huge debate over it, and it comes out a lot during football, right? Where it's a win or lose game, and that's it. You only have one shot at it. Whereas if you come out sluggish in a game one, it's whatever. You can get punched in the mouth really hard, and okay, we're better than that. We know we're better than that. We just had our worst game in the entire playoffs, and we're going to play to our level of ball, our level of hockey, whatever the sport is on a 7 series, where you have that kind of leeway, that play. I feel like the rest is going to help because it's going to allow your team to be healthy. It's not going to be a do or die game where, okay, yeah, we didn't come out, we end up losing, but we now have tape and we have a coach that's going to be riding us, because I feel like even if you get a bad loss in a game one after all this rest, a great coach is going to sit you guys down and go, okay, that was the worst game that we've ever played, and now we got film. We got film, and here's what we're going to watch. Or you get blown out so bad, let's throw that one away. We all know we're better than that, so you don't worry about it. And I feel like for this Knicks team, it's not going to matter. I think you guys needed the rest. You need the health more than you need to worry about, all right, we're going to keep our joints, we're going to keep in good contention. When you're already practicing, you already got it figured out in the playoffs with 2 other series. You know, all right, we know where we need to be at. We've already done it in 2 series, 2 best-of-7 series. This is a no-brainer now. We want the rest. We're going to come into this thing healthy. I feel like I'm going to kind of disagree with you when you said, this isn't going to really be a runaway. The Cavs really they can keep this thing close. Don't get me wrong. But if the Cavs play like they did with the Pistons, where they allow the Knicks to get up by 10 to 15, when you turn around, it's going to be 30 points in your face, and you're not going to come back because this Knicks team is not going to stop. They're not going to be this Detroit Pistons team where they go on 3 to 4 minute cold sprees. They're going to keep the pressure on you, and they're going to make it really, really uncomfortable for you. I do think that the Cavaliers can keep this thing close. I'm not saying that they can't. I'm just saying if you do what you did against the Pistons, where you have yourself a minute or 2 of really bad basketball, it's gonna escalate quickly, where that minute turns into a whole quarter loss because the Knicks get on fire.
Yeah, and I can agree with you on that. I agree with your statement there. I do feel like this Cavs team is going to play a different brand of basketball. I think they're going to go into this knowing like, hey, we're not going to win this series if we play the way we did against Detroit.
Yeah, we got lucky.
Right. But I do agree with you. If they play the way they did against Detroit, this thing could be over really quick because this New York team is too good offensively and, quite frankly, and defensively. You can't play that way against them. But I don't know. I've always kind of been one of those guys where I feel like you think about it, like the Pistons or the Cavs are coming off. They just had a 7-game series. They're battle tested. They're gassed at this point, but they're also like that momentum is riding with them now. They're riding on a high right now, where the Knicks have been. And I know we said earlier they don't literally sit on the couch, but they've been quote unquote sitting on the couch for a week now. So I've always kind of felt like in basketball, like in a game of series, it does kind of affect you, because if you come out and have a bad game 1 and it carries over into game 2, now you're in an 0-2 deficit. And that's hard to come back from. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's hard. So I don't know. I'm really tossed up on if I want that kind of break or not as a team. We've seen teams do really well with it. And we've seen teams really get hurt by it. But this series, dude, the Knicks finished the season 53-29. The Cavaliers were 52-30. On paper, this is about as evenly matched of a series as it comes. But basketball is not played on paper; it's played on a court. So I am really curious to see how these two teams actually match up when the first tip off happens, because like I said, I think the Cavaliers do match up better against the Knicks than the Pistons would have. But is it going to be better enough to actually knock the Pistons off? I don't know. There's a couple matchups in this series that I'm really excited to see. Jalen Brunson versus Donovan Mitchell. These are two of the very best late game players in the entire NBA. Not just the Eastern Conference, but in the entire NBA. When the clock is winding down, these are two of the guys that like you want the ball in their hands. And these are two guys that love to have the ball in their hands in those situations. So I think that's going to be a really fun matchup. I think Brunson has the edge offensively, but I think Mitchell has the edge defensively. So that's going to be really fun, in my opinion, to watch how that plays out. The other one I'm really interested to see is Karl Anthony Towns versus Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. Like I said earlier, Cat really showed that he can be the guy that the offense operates through. I'll say it again, that 47.5 assist rate. That's crazy especially for a center. But Mobley and Allen might be the best front court duo in the NBA. I mean, Mobley and Allen, these guys are absolutely awesome defensively, and they're great defense. They're absolutely awesome defensively, and they're great offensively. So I feel like this is going to be almost like a chess match. Like, do you sit one and bring them 1A, 1B? Do you have them both on the court at the same time? Do you pull them both off when Cat goes off the court, and that way you can have them both go back on when Cat comes on, and you have two of them. I don't know what you do there. Like it's going to be fun to see. Like I said, it's going to be like a chess match. One more thing about this series, New York has won all 4 of the previous playoff series against Cleveland. They had a 5-game first round win in 2023. That one was during the Brunson era, but the other ones were ways back. But this is the first time these two teams have met beyond the first round. So I am curious to see who has the edge here. Historically, you can look at history a lot of times and see kind of who has an edge on a team, but I'm really curious to see how that matches up. Another really cool storyline about this series, Donovan Mitchell is from New York. He grew up in New York. Back in 2022 when he was leaving Utah, everyone kind of knew that he was going to sign with the Knicks. We all knew it. He ended up going to Cleveland. Now he's playing in the Eastern Conference Finals in Madison Square Garden in his hometown. That is a really cool storyline. Donovan Mitchell's coming home to play against the Knicks. I'm just excited to see it. And Donovan Mitchell's also never been out of the second round. So I'm really curious to see how he plays in an Eastern Conference Finals. But this team, these two teams are going to be fun to watch. The Knicks, they're a top 5 net rating all season. They're also a top 7 unit on both offense and defense. They have 10 proven contributors, like I said earlier. They're experienced. The Mike Brown's system is running at an absolute peak high right now. Like, this team is really, really playing on another level right now. And I think it's going to be really hard for the Cavs to slow them down. But Cleveland's got that Game 7 momentum. They come in here, if they can knock them off in Game 1, go into Game 2 and maybe steal another game right there in New York, this series is going to be really, really, that's really going to set the tone in the series. You get what I'm saying? I don't know, dude. What's your pick here? I want to start with you, Trent. What's your pick in this one? Who are you taking? And how many games?
I'm going to take the Knicks.
Okay.
I think the Knicks can get this thing done in 6.
In 6? Okay. I'm gonna agree with you. I think the Knicks win this series. I do. I want to take 7, and I'm gonna take 7. I do think this Cavs team is gonna give them a lot of problems. I think this is going to look a lot different than it has so far throughout the playoffs for both teams. But I just think this Knicks team is they know, or they're playing, like I said, they're playing on a different level right now. And I don't think this Cavs team is going to be able to stop that. I think they do everything they can to stop it. I think they take it to 7 games, but I think the Knicks win this one in 7. They win it in Madison Square Garden, and they go to the playoff or to the NBA Finals for the first time since what I say earlier, 98, 99. I think that's a long time, you guys. I mean, yeah, 98, 99 was the last time they were in the NBA Finals. So I think they go to the NBA Finals. I think this Knicks team is going to do it. Let's jump over to the West. We got number 1 versus number 2. That's the way it's supposed to be every year, right? 1 seed, 2 seed.
That's what they say.
Oklahoma City Thunder, San Antonio Spurs. We got MVP versus Defensive Player of the Year. This one's gonna be fun, you guys. This is gonna be, when they say it, this is it. This is it. This is what we all want to see. This is what we've all been wanting all year.
This
right?
is the series of the year.
Yep. Everyone that watches the NBA, everyone in the NBA, this is what everyone has wanted to see, is Shai versus Wemby. It's going to be absolutely fun. This is 2 dynasties in the making. Like we said earlier, these 2 teams are set up to be a dynasty. This is the youngest matchup we've seen in any conference finals. I mean, this is just going to be unbelievable, dude. I'm almost lost for words of what to even say about it. I'm so excited to watch this series. I really think this one, like I said, Shai just won his 2nd MVP in a row, 2nd consecutive MVP. He's the first player to do it since Nikola did it back in 21-22. Really, by every measure right now, Shai is the best basketball player in the world. Wemby took 3rd in the MVP voting. And Jokic was too. So, I mean, you're talking, these are 3 international players too. Wemby's from Spain. or France, I mean. He's from France. Nicolas International. Shai's from Canada. The three best players in the world aren't even from America. It's crazy. But we also have a matchup of Defensive Player of the Year Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren, who took second. Like, they're just, this whole series is just littered with hardware. It's littered with the Thunder have already won a title, 2-time MVP. Yeah, it just crazy, dude. This is exactly what we wanted. Oklahoma City comes into this series 8-0 in the playoffs. I truly believe they haven't been tested yet, and this is where it happens. I think the Spurs are really, really going to push this Thunder team, and we're going to really see what the Thunder are made of, because they haven't. I don't want to take anything from the Suns or the Lakers, but the Thunder haven't really had any tough matchup yet. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this is going to be
every game that they played, they felt like they had control over
right
by 15 points at every given moment. Even when you guys decided to get it close, you're still not coming back. We got 15 points up on you. Okay.
Yes.
Come back. We're going to win by 7 tonight instead of 15. Who cares?
Yep, exactly. This is one of those games. So a lot of times I kind of think like, the regular season doesn't really matter when you get to the playoffs, but I feel like in this series it does. The San Antonio Spurs were 4-1 against the Thunder this year in the regular season. They also won two of those games. One of them was 130-110, and one was 117-102. This Spurs team knows how to beat this Thunder team. They have the blueprint.
Well, see, I think it's funny that you just said that the regular season doesn't matter, because I feel like the regular season doesn't matter when it comes to the MVP vote. I think it's going to come down to, all right, yeah, you were the MVP during the regular season, but now it's time to play the playoffs. And I feel like team chemistry in the regular season does matter. And you have a team that knows out of the 5 games that we've played we've handled business 4 of them.
Right.
I feel like the Spurs know in the back of their mind, we own you guys, and until you prove us wrong, we're going to continue to own you.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. And I really think the Spurs are, like I said, I think they're going to give OKC a lot of trouble here. I think the way that the Spurs beat this team is by pace and ball security. San Antonio averaged 12.4 turnovers a game against OKC this regular season, and that prevented the Thunder from generating what they normally do. They normally have 17 plus turnovers that they force in a game, and they usually get 23 points on average off of those turnovers. So when you cut that down by 5 turnovers, like, that really changes the game a lot. I think if San Antonio is able to protect the ball in this series, that they win this series. I really do.
I think if they can protect the ball, but ultimately I feel like the big difference is going to be the possession game. I think Wemby's going to make a few blocks and get some rebounds that are really going to flip this thing on its head. And they're going to challenge the Thunder to the likes which they have not been challenged other than by playing them earlier this year.
Right. I agree with that. Like I said earlier, Shai averaged 31.1 points per game this season on 55.3 field goal percentage. He played awesome all regular season. And then Wembanyama, Defensive Player of the Year, he was completely dominant on both sides of the court. This isn't just the best individual matchup like in basketball. This is the best individual matchup in professional basketball, just period. Like, these are the 2 best basketball players on the planet right now.
I mean, it's like watching Bird in the day and Magic Johnson.
Yes.
This is what you get to watch right now.
Yep. Or when Michael was going up against Magic. Like, that's what we're seeing here is the 2 best basketball players on the planet. Doesn't matter what league, what level, nothing. These are the 2 best, period. I'm really excited to see the Chet Holmgren versus Victor Wembanyama matchup. I think those 2 play so hard against each other. I really feel like those 2 motivate each other beyond what we even know they're capable of, to play even harder than we thought. Chet's gonna have to shut Wembanyama down on the block. He's gonna have to. He's a phenomenal defender, Chet Holmgren is, but Victor Wembanyama is 7'4". I still argue he's taller than that. I really think he's taller than that. That's what he's listed at. And he's got an 8-foot wingspan. Like, something's going to have to give there. You know what I mean? Chet is phenomenal defensively, but Wembanyama is phenomenal offensively. Like, one's got to give. It's going to happen. I'm curious to see which one gives. The other thing that really makes me think the Spurs can give this OKC team trouble is the secondary scorers. I mean, De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, like I said earlier, the 6th man of the year, Dylan Harper, Champagnie. This team is just loaded with talent, but so is OKC. AJ Mitchell, Alex Caruso, Jalen Williams, they're saying is going to play. Just these are such deep teams that I'm just, what's going to give here? What's going to give? I don't know. This one's really hard for me to pick, man. OKC's looking to go back to back here. They're motivated. They want to do this thing. No one's done that since Golden State, like I said earlier, in 2017, 2018. But the Spurs are ready to claim their stake as a dynasty at this point. This one, I don't know. I mean, we've even got a great coaching matchup. Mark Daigneault, he's the reigning coach of the year. He won it back in 23-24, so not the reigning, I guess, but a previous coach of the year winner. Mitch Johnson was in the running for it this year. These are two of the best coaches in basketball right now. Everything about this series is just
the best
great.
Of the best going at each other.
Greatness and better.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, who's going to be the greatest?
Right.
That's honestly what that is boiling down to. Is
yes,
you have the two greatest going to make a diamond here. Where, all right, heat plus pressure on coal turns it into a diamond. That's what you got.
Exactly.
We're gonna hop in the oven together, and one of us is going to come out.
Yeah. Let's just get right into it. Who are you taking here, and how many games, Trent? What do you got on this one?
I think this one goes 6 games. And,
okay.
and I'm giving it to Wemby. I think the Spurs handle business. They handled it during the regular season. They know that they can handle this OKC team. I think the Spurs have had a little bit of a fight against the Wolves. This is going to help them out in this series. I think they're going to start on a really hot foot because they had that kind of test where OKC's really not had that yet. I think it's going to be hard to see, but I think within the first 2 games in OKC, I think the Spurs can steal one, and maybe not even just one. Maybe they take both of them. I feel like the Spurs team is really that good.
Okay. Not real exciting here, but I'm going to agree with you. I think Spurs win this thing. I know the whole way through, I've been saying Thunder are going to win it, but watching these games, I think the Spurs end up knocking them off here.
I mean, just barring injury, I think the Spurs are better.
Right.
And it's not saying anything bad against OKC. It's just Wemby's an alien. He's a freak.
Yeah, he's a different breed.
He's just a different class. And then everyone else around him scores points. I mean, if Wemby was just a point scorer, it would be all right. Well, maybe it would be like more of I'd be on the fence and really not leaning towards the Spurs.
Right. Yep.
But with Wemby there, he's going to change the entire defense. He's going to really put pressure on these guys. It's going to be really uncomfortable for the Oklahoma Thunder. And you got a young team that knows that they can beat the reigning champions. They've done it 4 out of the 5 times that they played them. So,
right.
All right. That's a very, very powerful belief system if you're a young group of guys where, all right, well, we know we can hang with you. We've done it before and we're not scared of you. We'll go in there and punch you in the mouth just as much as you'll try to punch us in the mouth. So I think it's going to get a really physical series. I think, like you said, Holmgren and Wemby they're going to be dominant. You're going to be watching that matchup a lot.
Yeah.
But I just feel like the Spurs team's going to find a way to make sure that they get this thing done and close it out in San Antonio.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think the Spurs are going to win it, but I'm taking this one to go 7 as well. I think this one's going to go 7. It's going to go the distance, but I think the Spurs end up winning it. So we've both got the Knicks versus the Spurs in the finals. I want to jump into that. I don't want to talk too much about it because we'll do that in our next episode when we preview that. that series. But I just real quick here, I want to make a prediction on that because this is different than what we were saying the past couple episodes. We were all, both of us were very different.
The information's kind of changed. What we've seen in the playoffs has changed, and I mean, once it comes down to that Knicks and Spurs matchup, it's Wemby's to lose, man.
Yeah.
Well, this Knicks team is great. Don't get me wrong. I love them. And make me eat my words, Knicks. I mean, you've done it multiple times, and I've picked against you every single round except for this one. So make me eat my words, but I believe that the Wemby-led Spurs are going to start their dynasty, or at least their viability for a dynasty with OKC, where you're going to see this. All right, whoever really wins the West is going to be the best, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon.
Yeah, I've picked against the Knicks this whole way through. I have. I'll be the first to admit it. I was wrong every time. But I'm in the same boat. I'm picking against the Knicks.
Oh, I'm changing my mind now.
I think the Spurs are going to win it in 5. I just don't think this Knicks team matches up at all. I think
it goes 6.
You do?
I do.
I think it's a gentleman's sweep.
I think they're going to find a way to win 2 in the guard and push this thing, but I think ultimately it's going to end in 6.
Okay, I'm taking the Spurs in 5. And I'll say it right now, I won't be surprised if Spurs sweep them. I just think the Spurs team is just head and shoulders. I mean, literally head and shoulders above everyone else right now. Wemby is just, he's a different breed, man. I've never seen anything like this, and it's just, it is unbelievable to watch. And I think I agree with you. I think this is where, the Thunder get cut short here and the Spurs start to look like, okay, there is going to be a new dynasty, but it's not the team we actually thought it was going to be. I think the Spurs take the NBA over here. It's going to be, these conference finals are going to be absolutely fun to watch. I think both of them are going 7 games. I really do. But
I just don't feel like we're in an era where we're going to have a dynasty. The dynasty I think we're going to see is the dynasty of the West.
Yeah.
The West is going to carry this thing for the next multiple years. So if you want to say that's the dynasty, so be it. But I feel like it's going to be a mix of these 4 really big teams that we've kind of talked about ad nauseum, which is the T-Wolves. We've talked about them quite a bit. I feel like they're going to be making very, very big splashes this offseason to get to where these guys are at. The Mavericks are on their way up. We've talked a little bit about them. Cooper Flag, they're moving on their way up to this level where they've got themselves a freak as well. The Spurs, the Thunder, this is going to be very, very interesting. And then we haven't even talked about the we've talked about the Nuggets, but I haven't talked about them in this. I mean, you're talking about 5 teams there. It's just going to be a carousel. All right, whoever gets out of the West, as long as you're not banged and bruised, you're probably going to win the championship. Yeah. Valerio is yours to lose.
Well, and I think, I mean, even the Rockets you could put up there. If they make the right moves this offseason, that Rockets team could be really, really scary next year. Like, I agree with you. I think the West is going to be dominant for the next decade. But I do think that the Spurs have the pieces. I think the Spurs and the Thunder right now have the pieces to basically, like I said earlier, I'm not saying literally they're going to be the matchup in the West for the next 10 years, but they have the team, the youth, the depth. They have everything to do it. So it is going to be really fun to see what happens because, again, like we said earlier, it does motivate the other teams in that conference to get that much better to compete with those teams. So I agree with you. I think the dynasty is going to be the West. That I will agree with that. I think if there is a team in the NBA that we've seen in the last 10 years that could become the next dynasty, I think it is either the Spurs or the Thunder.
I agree 100% on that.
But it's just, dude, this is going to be so fun. I mean, this is like the best time of year. We got hockey playoffs. NHL playoffs have been lights out. If you guys like hockey, make sure you check out What the Puck podcast. We're covering all the NHL playoffs over there. Obviously, we're doing the Triangle Talk here. We're doing all the NBA playoffs. We're growing this thing. We're growing every day, you guys. We're building a really great community with Nelson Sports Network. We've got a lot of, loyal listeners that are reaching out on comments and liking the videos. So make sure you guys, if you're liking it, make sure you like the video, leave us comments, let us know what you like, let us know your predictions on these series, let us know your championship matchup, let us know who you think's going to win it. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you go follow us on all the other socials. And guys, we'll say it again. We say it all the time. We really appreciate all the love and support you guys have been giving us. And let's just keep growing this thing. We're growing every day. It's been awesome. It's been fun. We love doing this for you guys. So keep showing that love back and we'll keep giving it to you guys. We really appreciate it. So have a good night. Check these games out, you guys. And then, like I said, leave comments. Let us know what you think. Have a good one. Peace.